she described are about 60 pounds of squid that are going to go in the water in the next few minutes. Do you see those big brown cubes also? These are fish vitamins, gel diet we call it. And this is a way of getting a little bit more supplement, a little bit of the vitamins in for these big fish that are moving around here. And we want to make sure that all these big fish are well fed, so they're not going to be eating the little fish that are now starting to come up from below. Now these little sardines that are coming up, they may come up and down a few times. We're going to feed them towards the end of this feeding so that they don't end up as the breakfast. They're here as neighbors, not as lunch or any of the meals. So take a look up top. You'll notice that there are some big fish with square foreheads that are hanging out right on top. Keep a close eye on these. These are Dorado fish, and they're named that because when they get excited, they will turn a beautiful golden color. That is not a trick of the light when they do that. So watch them move around. Dorado fish have a couple other names that you might know. We also can call them mahi-mahi. That's the Hawaiian name. So some of you recognize that name. But the fish doesn't look quite like it does on a plate with a little bit of rice and asparagus to go with it. Now, below those fish are some big tunas. We have some bluefin and yellowfin tunas. We have some tuna cousins swimming around that are a bit smaller with stripes all over them, and they are known as bonito fish. And all of these are big fish-eating fish. So in addition to the calamari or squid that we're dropping in, we're going to be dropping in some cut-up pieces of bait fish. Wow, we just saw that Dorado fish take a big jump up out of the water. That was the splash. And you can see that our flash mob has taken over the center stage here. That is about 15,000 little sardines that have come up. They are definitely hungry, but food is way too big for them, so they can't eat this. We'll be putting in food that's more their size in a minute, and if they know what's good for them, they might get out of the way while the big fish are feeding, so nothing untoward happens to them. But these little sardines are really good at staying away from big tunas and mahi-mahis out in the wild. Some of those little sardines, they can live to be over 8 to 10 years old. Some of them we think even live to be in their 20s. So these are, whoa! Somebody didn't tell that tuna that there's other food there for it. So these little sardines are pretty good at staying away from the big guys, but we want to make sure that the big fish get their fair share and get the right food at the right time for them as well. So we're trying to feed them first so that they can maybe leave those little guys alone for a while. Now, we mentioned something else, another kind of feeding, when Kristen was talking to us before. When we put that target in the water for the ocean sunfish, for some of the animals, they're a little bit slower moving, and they can't compete with these guys for dinner. And besides, their diet is different. So let me show you on the screens here what it looks like when we feed an ocean sunfish. Somebody has to lean over that bridge, that catwalk. They attract the animal up with a target, which is kind of a visual dinner bell. So the animal comes up, and then we can hand feed it. And we're hand feeding our ocean sunfish some pieces of this gel diet that are in sausage casings. And it's sort of the texture of their natural diet, which is jellyfish. So they're getting their fair share. And if you look towards the back, I think I saw that ocean sunfish still towards the back of the water there getting some of this breakfast. Now, you'll notice also that the food has changed. In addition to the squid that's being dropped in, there are some cut up pieces of fish, and sometimes those tunas will put on a little bit more of a speed show for us because they really like these cut up pieces of fish that are just dropping in the surface of the water now. These tunas are incredible. You know, they are always on the move, but they can put on bursts of speed of over 50 miles per hour through the water. So they are really incredibly fast-moving animals. Some of these tunas weigh over 200 pounds in here, and that's actually not even full size. We know that bluefin tuna in parts of the world can grow to be up to 1,000 or more pounds. The problem for bluefin tuna is that lots and lots of people around the world love to eat them. them, and we're taking them out of the ocean faster than they can replenish. So bluefin tuna are one of those animals that we're asking everybody to see if they can give a pass to, because we want those populations to come back. But don't worry, there are plenty of other great choices. I'm a great seafood lover, and what I use is our Seafood Watch application or our cards, and that gives me advice on the things that are on the green list that are so good to eat and they are sustainably harvested versus the things that are on the red list, like those bluefin tuna that are kind of in trouble and need our help. So we have a free app for that. I have our West Coast guides, and they even have a sushi card for you if you'd like to come up afterwards and pick one of those up. Now, as we're winding down with the big feeding, we're getting started with the small feeding for these little guys. So as I mentioned, the sardines really like to move around and get up there, but we got to make sure that they have the right food for them. So as we finish with the big animals, you'll start to see little tiny pieces of food being dropped in. There's some right now, right ahead of where that big school of sardines are. Watch for little brown pellets. They look sort of like the food you might serve to your cats or dogs at home. And in addition to that, we're feeding them krill. So if you see something that looks like a pink or orange cloud of food, there's some of it right now, right in the center top of the window. Krill are the very small little shrimp-like animals that so many other animals eat. Who can tell me what the biggest animal is that eats krill? Whales, exactly right. Blue whales especially love them, so do humpback whales, and we've had a lot of whales and dolphins in the bay recently, in part because so many small things are also out there right now that are feeding on these, and that provides food for the sardines and other small animals, and that means that whales and other big animals can come along and feed as well. Now, who the heck is leading this big school of sardines all over the place? No one. There is no leader for these sardines. What they do is they watch their neighbors really quickly and really efficiently, so they have good eyesight. They have good pressure sensors on the sides of their bodies, and they can feel when their neighbors are moving, or say when a big mahi is starting to come near them, and they can get out of the way. But no one fish leads them. What they do tend to do, though, is move as one big group, because that keeps them a lot safer than if they're on their own out there. And this big school sometimes, does exactly this. They might swarm around. If I've trained them right, they'll make a big dramatic exit for me here. But we'll see if they do that. It's hard training 15,000 fish to do what you want them to do. Well, some of them got the word. Some of them are going to take a little bit more time. I also want to point out that we've been seeing our hammerhead sharks, our sandbar shark, and our rays swimming through. And I want to show you how we feed them as well. We target feed them at a different time of the day. So you won't see that now, but here on the screens, it's a clip from a previous feeding. This is how we feed the pelagic stingrays. They put a target in the water, the animal comes up, flips over to show us the mouth side, and then we can drop